Hey guys, welcome to Advantage Security. This is an intro to security guard employment. This will be a great video if you're trying to transition from a different field of work into security, or if you're doing security and you've been doing it for less than a year and you have some questions and you need some answers. And one of the main questions is, can I turn this job I like into a career? This is for you guys, right? And for possibly management that wants to help retrain somebody else so they can have a better idea of expectations. I'm gonna try to keep this video clean, just so you know. Zero cussing today, hopefully. And the purpose of this channel is to provide security guards with training, right? Keep them safe and get them to making $50,000 a year. It is doable even in small towns, guys. $50,000 is the average salary in the US. And if you're not making that as a full-time security guard, we need to reevaluate your career strategies, your work strategies, right? And that's what I'm here for, to help you. So if you find value in that, in this video as well, press like, subscribe, and if you have any questions about security, leave it down by the comment section. If it's something I can answer, I'll turn a video. If something that I don't know the answer to, I'll look it up and research it. And, it'll create some entertainment for me, and then eventually I can make a video as well. So this is intro to security guard employment, guys. Up in the tippy top of security is owning your own security company. And that should be everybody's long-term goals. If you're considering security to be a career, that's where you're going to find the real money, and you're going to create actual value. You're going to have soldiers. You're going to be able to create your own stuff and leave, a possible legacy or sell it off to a bigger company in the future. But how do you get to that point? You got to put the time, you got to network, and you also have to have a little bit of capital. Just so you know, owning a security guard company is cheaper than buying a house. It's cheaper than buying a house, just so you know. The barrier to access is not that great, though they're trying to suppress that many times. For the most part, anywhere between $10,000 to $30,000 will allow you to have your own security guard company. That's me ballparking, and just considering all the different states. Heck, in New York it was like 25 G's. So when you do security, you have to have your long-term goals and your short-term goals. The long-term goal should be for everybody to have your own agency around year 5 or year 10. If you're saving up correctly, if you're moving down the right path, if you're doing your job correctly, taking it seriously, and you turn it into a career, you'll be doing this eventually, right? And how do you do that? By mastering the basics. You got to master the basics. You got to be a professional. You got to gain a lot of skills. And you got to pick a certain area of expertise as far as security, right? And saving money and investing in training. You should, when it comes to security, you should be putting away 5 to 10% of your paycheck for training, for courses. And whenever you can do something free online, do it, right? Keep that in mind. And then at least once or twice a week for a half hour to 90 minutes, you should be looking up security guard content or reading something that's related to security so that you can keep up to date with laws, regulations, threat levels in your surrounding area and your particular type of posts, and just to stay informed, right? Keep those things in mind. It's very important. And those are best practices you should do throughout your entire career path as a security guard. So when it comes to getting to that point, let's start from the ground zero right here, man. Ground zero, the lobby. There are 2 types of employments you're going to find as a security guard. One is in-house security. The other one is out-resourced security, right? Third-party vendors type of security. Security agencies, right? They have their ups and they have their downs depending on where you are. And if you know thyself, you know which one's best for you. I'm happy, I'm content, because now I know what I need out of life. I know how to negotiate. I know how to articulate my thoughts. And I know how to create plans. And I'm trying to share this with you guys so that you can succeed faster as a security guard. So let's first get into the negatives of working in security agencies, then the positives. Then we'll get into in-house security negatives and then the positives. And there you can have a better understanding of which one is best for you. All right, so a negative from working in a security agency is you could get fired quickly, and that's not your fault necessarily sometimes. Sometimes it's just the client. They no longer want somebody working a particular shift because they're going to remove that to save money, or, they don't like the look of you, Imagine having my face, my body type as a welcome greeter in a lobby security. I did that for a while, and I got replaced by a pretty young lady. It happens. It's perfectly fine. I didn't take it personally. So you get fired for no reason. You get fired for no reason, guys. It's understandable. And don't take it personal. It kind of feels personal the first few times it happens, but then you get used to it getting burned. So the best advice I can give you, the best pro tip I can give you is save enough money to cover you for a month. When you have that in the back burner in the savings account, you always feel positive. You will always feel like you're strong in your job and you're not walking on eggshells. So always save a month's worth of wages to protect yourself from losing any contracts or any temporary positions, right? Another bad thing about working agency security is mandatory overtime. Mandatory overtime can be a bad opportunity for you if you have a kid that was just born, if you have to be a caregiver, if you're going to school, or you have another job. And it is what it is, right? It's mandatory. And if you say no enough times, you might be let go, might not be put on the roster, and they might cut your hours because they think you're not serious about the job. And they're putting their frustration onto you, the employee. And this happens. There's also a lack of benefits in security agencies. So don't expect no 401k or vacations or dental. Some of them do have medical. Some of them don't have dental. Some of them have vision. Some of them don't have vision. So it's kind of all over the place when it comes to the benefits of security agencies. They have little to no training. They just expect you to know everything. Some places will at least give you an SOP, a standard operational procedure that you can read, which is probably 2 years out of date, and nobody's updating it because it's not their job. There also is the chance they're going to charge you for your job, and they're going to charge you for the background check. They're going to charge you for the fingerprinting. Instead of them paying for it, they might charge you with that. That was a real culture shift for me here in Pennsylvania, because in New York, they tend to pay for that stuff themselves, these companies, right? Now in Pennsylvania, they charge you out of that. They charge you that out of your first paycheck. And then the last one is everybody's your boss when you work with a security agency. Everybody's your boss. So you have a client that should only be talking to the security agency, not to you directly. They'll talk to you. They'll reprimand you. They'll correct you or update you. Sometimes not something negative. They'll just give you updated information. And then they'll tell that to the agency. And then the agency will tell you the same crap. They'll tell you the same thing twice. And you're like, yeah, I just spoke with Mr. Golden. He told me all this stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, but we have to tell you too because Mr. Golden told us to tell you. I'm like, oh, this is great. So everybody's telling me the same thing twice. That's kind of redundant. Everybody's working harder for no reason. So those are bad things. Those are pretty much 6 bad things. Fire quickly, mandatory overtime, lack of benefits, little to no training. There's also charge to your fingerprinting and background check, and everybody's your boss. Those are 6 things, right? Let's get to the positives. I like ending in a positive note. Positive stuff is that there's different posts when it comes to security agencies, right? You could work doing just parties like bar mitzvah, sweet 16s, believe it or not, or VIP parties as a security agent. You can work in stadiums. You could work in theaters. You could work in synagogues. You could work in churches, schools. You could work in museums. You could work in the zoo or that place where the people jump around. Circus. There you go. In the circus. You could work you could work almost anywhere. So that's a plus. There's entertainment value in this. I know a buddy of mine that I worked in the warehouse jobs with. He just does security jobs for Signal 88 whenever they have a special event. He sees free concerts every couple of months, and he enjoys it, and he's steady with them. But that's not his main job. Another plus with security agency jobs is you get to test the waters because they have so many different type of posts out there, so many different type of job opportunities. So anywhere between 6 months to 15 months, you're going to figure out what type of jobs, security jobs you enjoy. Do you like working at stadiums? Do you like working in schools? Do you like working in retail? Do you like working in museums? Like, working with these agencies will let you test the waters and figure it out. And then you could pick a particular route of security, safety to work in, right? Something you can enjoy with a good payment, good schedule, something that works well for your life. All right, almost unlimited overtime. Depending on your circumstances, you're going to want overtime. Maybe you have a Christmas party coming up pretty soon, right? Maybe you have some gifts you have to buy. Maybe a wedding, a vacation. You work some serious overtime, all you can handle. So that's a plus and a negative. There's only a negative is mandatory, It's plus when you could do it whenever you want. But you got to take, the bad with the good, right? Another thing is in security agencies, you can haggle your wages. Believe it or not, it's been my personal experience that if a job if all the like they have a standard pay, right? These security agencies, right? Some of them, for the most part. Let's say they're paying $15 an hour, which is minimum wage in New York. But this particular job requires you to have a license in this, CPR, fire guard, this, that, and the third. You tell them, I'll do this job for 20, even though they're saying 15. They're like, oh no, we're only paying 15 for that. I'm like, well, you want certifications, you want special training. In order to have access to that, I had to pay and do X, Y, and Z. So I could do 20, and then maybe they'll haggle with you and be like, what about 19? And be like, 19.25. And be like, okay, they'll do it, and that's it. So you can haggle your wages. Next one is you guys can also get promoted within 6 months into a entry-level management position like that. A buddy of mine, he left high school, and I've said this story maybe twice in all my videos. It was like a second job out of high school. He was working for American Eagle. He was always on time, which is 15 minutes early. He was never on time, which is, late in security dumb. And he was professional, always smiled. He did his job correctly, and he always said yes to overtime. So they offered him a field supervisor position where he was going from making minimum wage with a lot of overtime to a salaried employee. And he said yes. Why? Because it was a promotion. Though he was going to make less money overall, because he was going to make more yearly wise with overtime. He's like, well, I could get a better job in the future. And this kid, he knew how to think. I learned a lot from him. And he was like 10 years younger than me. And by saying yes and by being courteous and doing his job correctly and being friendly and being a team player, was given that promotion in 6 months. Second job, guys. Second job. Isn't that amazing? And let's go into in-house security guard jobs. Let's go first into the negatives. It's hard to get in there with no experience, Unless you know somebody, you're not going to get that job if you don't have any real experience. That's number one. Number two, their interview process is a lot longer than the agencies. I'll tell you that much. They're like 3 or 4 interviews, man. I remember I had to first talk on the phone, then it was an email, then it was like a test, then it was a face-to-face interview with 2 different people. The last 2 different interviews with the 2 different people was like 3 hours long. And I'm like, what am I getting a job for here? Federal job? Like, what's going on here? But it was worth it, guys. It was worth it. And then you cannot handle your wages as much as agencies because they have a budget. It's not like an agency that's constantly growing. They could get a new contract and they could take maybe 10 cents off of every post, and from there they could give you a raise with that. This is in-house security. The only time they can make money is if they're selling a product. Let's say, like, for example, Walmart can probably give you a raise in your in-house job if you do in-house security for them because they're selling goods. So if they're making more money that year, if they can steadily growing like they have been doing for the last 10 years, that and Amazon, you could probably haggle wages with them. And then there's also a lack of OT for a lot of in-house security jobs because they're so stable. They already have a team. They don't want nobody to burn out. So there's less OT. Now let's get into the benefits. The job is pretty secure compared to security agencies just because, in my own personal experience, employees tend to last 9 months to 15 months. That's what I've noticed. So, if you do your job incorrectly, they'll help you out and they'll train you. And 9 months to 15 months to figure out a job, that's not bad, guys. That's not bad. And then they also paid for training. They'll pay for training many times, or they'll train you themselves. They'll train you themselves, and you can build skills, right? You also have one steady post that you can master, that you can build skills off of when you're doing in-house security. You have benefits like vacation. You have 401k, dental, vision. Again, this is in-house security. This is slightly the bigger leagues, I want to say. Slightly, right? You have steady yearly increases, as far as matching inflation, maybe a 50 cents or $1 raise every year. You have more teamwork and camaraderie because people like their job when you're in-house. People tend to not to get fired as much or leave as much because the job is pretty much okay. And, you get to spend some time with these people. You become friends even outside of work. This has happened with me before. Where you just hang out, you have a beer or two, or you go to each other's kids' birthday parties and, give a gift, stuff like that. So there's camaraderie. People want to protect the post. People want to protect you and stuff like that. You also only have one boss, which is a plus. You're not constantly being talked by the client plus your security management. It just makes no sense. It's, like I said, double work. So that's pretty much both of them in a nutshell. Security, in-house security makes good money, and then agency security either makes very bad money or very good money. But look what I said. I said good money, and I said very bad money or very good money. So good money is in the middle. Only in-house makes that type of money, steady money. Security agencies, you either get paid very little or you get paid a lot, absurdly amount. You'll be making like 50, 60,000 if you're willing to do overtime, if you have certain credentials, if you have certain positions. All right, guys. Besides that, there are other positions within security you can do, like field supervisor. There's also lead supervisor for one particular post. Field supervisor is when you pretty much oversees multiple posts. There's armed security, and there's director CEO. I'll probably talk about this in another video. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. What did I miss as far as in-house and agency security guards? Take care of yourself, love yourself. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a comment down below with any questions or comments, concerns, and subscribe if you have not. Take care of yourself, love yourself. Ciao. Lo quiero mucho.